Hi, I'm Bethany, and today we are talking about the Olympics and Paralympics, and I'm very excited because I love this topic. And with the Olympic and Paralympic Games coming up in 2026, there's a lot to talk about. The closer we get to the sporting events, which are two separate sporting events, the Olympics and Paralympics, they are not one and the same. They are different. They have different athletes. There is similarities in sports, but there are two different sets of athletes. They're representing the same countries, but again, two different sporting events. So I want to start. Let me set this coffee down so I don't spill it. I have notes. It's not this much, guys. Okay. But let's start with, there's a few things that I want to talk about. First of all, speaking of the Paralympics, there's this great book that if you're looking for ways to educate yourself or educate your children on the history of the Paralympics, this is a fantastic way to do it. It's called A Sporting Chance by Laurie Alexander. And I just had a flashback right now of the Reading Rainbow when he would do that. Okay, anyways, Sporting Chance tells the history of the Paralympics. It has a rich and very unique and wonderful history, and I was so excited when I saw that this book was being published a few years ago. And it is a very thick children's picture book. However, it has so much information that I think that it's a great picture book, children's book for both adults and children alike. The history of the Paralympics is incredible. It's built in resiliency and grit. And I just think it would be such a shame if we didn't, highlight the history and say, hey, look, here's a really easy, accessible book for you to learn about the history of the Paralympic Games. Okay. The Olympics are being held in Italy for 2026 for the Winter Olympics. Incredible. The IOC has, they're giving out special Olympic pasta, like boxes of pasta that are Olympic ring shaped. Every time I see the pasta, I get so excited. They haven't even sent me a box. They don't know who I am. But it just is such a fun way to celebrate the Olympics with something that's so iconic to the culture where these games are being held. I think that's so amazing. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because that is very quickly becoming one of my favorite aspects. Okay. The Olympic torch relay kicked off last week or a few weeks ago. And there's a few things that you need to know. First of all, if you've ever watched the beginning of the Olympic torch relay, it's really amazing. It pays such a rich and respectful homage to ancient Olympics. It starts in Greece, and then the torch literally goes from Greece to the host country and then travels throughout the host country. And then we see it at the opening ceremonies when it arrives. It's really amazing how this rich tradition happens. However, it pays homage to ancient Olympics. It did not start in ancient Olympia. This is a really interesting book if you're looking about the books about ancient Olympics, the Naked Olympics, because yes, in ancient Olympics they ran naked. But I found this book to be so interesting. It's kind of well worn because I toted it around for a while. But I just found like this book is very concise and very interesting. And it's been my favorite book to read about ancient Olympics. Okay. So in 2024, when it was in Paris, each host country can choose who will be part of the torch relay runners. And a lot of times they highlight people in their country that are either have done something significant or have, they have been an incredible athlete, or there's some type of thing where they feel like that torch relay runner is best representing the country because of the way that they've contributed to the country, whether it's music or inventions or athleticism, or maybe they're a favorite movie star, whatever the case may be. In 2024, we saw Paris take a slightly different technique, and they did have that. They had French people run the torch relay. They had athletes. They had people who were incredible. They had done significant things to further French culture and further French science and things like that. It's very interesting. But they also expanded and they invited other people who were not of French origin. They were not French citizens to participate in the torch relay. And honestly, I thought it was a little weird because this is supposed to be a celebration of the host country. And we want to see like who does the host country consider like their best of their best, right? To me, it's interesting. Like, let's continue to shine the spotlight back on the host country. But they get to choose that. So I was really happy when I went and looked, and they're beginning to announce who these torch relay runners will be for 2026 for the Winter Olympics for Italy. And a lot of them are Italian athletes, and you have some Italian TV personalities. And so it's really neat to me because they are really pulling from their Italian heritage and saying like, look, this is who we're going to have run, and this is who we're going to have represent our country in the torch relay. And I like to see who's participating in that torch relay, because I think it's a great way to learn more about what they contributed to their country and how their country honors them. So I'm very excited to watch. I don't know if we'll get to see the whole torch relay, but it is very interesting, and it's just such a neat and unique part of the Olympics leading up to the games. We don't get to see it and there probably will be some carryover of Olympic and Paralympics like athletes in the torch relay. I don't know if there will be. There probably will be, but it's really interesting to watch, and especially sometimes they will provide like a map of how they go, and it's really cool. When I was a kid, I got to watch the torch relay run through my little town in Georgia on the way to Atlanta, which is such a vivid and bright spot of my life to look back at that. Okay, let's talk about a few Team USA athletes that I am keeping a very close eye on for the Olympics in particular. This is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, this is just highlighting a few. One is Erin Jackson, who is a speed skater, and she's incredible. In 2022, she was like the top of her game, and she missed qualifying for the Team USA Olympic team by 1 point. But her teammate, Brittany, recognized how great that Erin is, and that she just had, she missed it by such a small margin. And Brittany had actually qualified for 2 races for speed skating in 2022, and she gave one of her spots to Erin. Well, now Erin's back, and I'm really excited to get to watch her. Hopefully I qualify for the Olympic team for Team USA, but also I just think that she's an incredible athlete, and she has incredible sportsmanship and a good role model for kids, because there's a lot of I saw an interview with her. She's like, I put off joining speed skating for a long time, even though I was being recruited, because I wanted to finish my education. And I really think there's a good balance there of seeing okay, this is someone who's extremely athletic and extremely driven, but also they're multifaceted, right? Also, another one that I think is going to be really interesting to watch is Jessie Diggins. She is an Olympic medalist for Team USA and cross-country skier. You may know her because she wears glitter on her face. It's kind of like her trademark look. She wrote a book called Brave Enough, and I really enjoyed reading this book. I thought it was so fascinating, just how she got started in her sport. She's so fast. She's such a joy to watch. But this is her last season, so we get to watch greatness one more time. And I'm so glad that she is part of Team USA Olympic history. She represents us well. Okay. Lastly, there is a new sport debuting in the Winter Olympics, and it's called skimo. And it's such an interesting sport. I've been following it for a few years. And basically what they do is the athlete runs up a mountain, literally, and then they ski down. And I've been following this guy. His name is Max Valverde. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Anyways, he's an NBC commentator now, but he actually got really into skimo, and he's on, and skimo is making its debut, and he does a great job of highlighting the sport and really talking about, like, it's a new and growing sport and has great potential. And so it's fun to watch this new sport make its debut in Olympics. Team USA has got some great athletes, and so I'm hoping that Team USA qualifies for the Olympics. Like, they're one of the teams that make it. Just as a reminder, like, not every country that is competitively competing in the Olympics will be able to participate in every Olympic sport. So when I say, like, you have to make the Team USA team as an athlete, and then your team also your country team, so Team USA, has to qualify for sport to participate in the sport. So I think it's going to be really fun. I hope Team USA does get that qualification and we get to see that debut. I think on a historical level, it'll be really amazing, but I also think it'll just highlight a brand new sport. And I say brand new because it will be brand new to the Olympics, but it has I think it's so interesting because they're basically using running up a snow mountain is a really hard feat in and of itself. And then you're going to add skiing down. This is amazing. So I was reading up and watching some videos about these athletes, particularly the Team USA athletes that we have, and they're amazing. So I think it'll be a really fun sport to watch, and I hope Team USA gets to participate. Okay, we did it. That's my news for this week. Have a great day.